This video supported in part by...
It's just a VR YouTube channel.
I have been wanting to do this comparison video for a while now because ever since I did this review of the My Arcade 40th Anniversary Pac-Man back in 2020, viewers and commenters were saying that's the exact same Pac-Man they put out in this Pocket Player a couple of years earlier. But when I reviewed this Pocket Player, I found the Pac-Man experience on this little unit way better than it was on that 40th Anniversary Micro Player. And they're certainly very similar. Neither one of them is the genuine arcade ROM, we know that, but for whatever reason, the version on the Pocket Player didn't rub me the wrong way, the way that the one did here on this 40th anniversary unit. Did I just misremember? Well, that is exactly what I intend to find out.
Don't you know that you're a grown up? No games, no puns. Not allowed if you're a grown up.
Hey there, welcome back to Gen X Grown Up. I'm John, and I am a Gen X Grown Up. Thank you for checking out this video. So let's get going with these two guys. So first of all, I experienced these units in reverse. The Micro Player for 40th anniversary of Pac-Man, I first experienced and reviewed, oddly enough, during the 40th anniversary of Pac-Man in 2020. I gave it a review and pretty bad, I think, because I didn't care largely for the sound. It just really was way off, although the version of Pac-Man was decent. This unit actually came out 2 years earlier in 2018, but I didn't experience it until this year, and I actually found it to be quite a bit better. I'll put links to both of these reviews down in the description of this video if you would like to see them in more detail. I should quickly point out here that the Pocket Player has 3 different titles on it, though the 40th anniversary only has Pac-Man. So for the purposes of this video, we're only talking about Pac-Man. We want to talk about the quality of the Pac-Man-ness, Pac-Man-ishness, whatever, of these two titles. So first things first, let's get this out of the way right away. Are these in fact the exact same version of Pac-Man? And I think that's evident pretty quickly if you'll watch the roll call screen. As you watch the ghosts come across, right at the bottom you'll see on the Pocket Player 2018, on the 40th anniversary it says 2020. So at the very least it has been revisioned, although they are clearly quite similar, as is evidenced by the gameplay. The next thing that really warrants comparison, I think, is the quality of the controls on the two units. Of course, the 40th anniversary Micro Player has that screw-on, screw-off bat-top joystick that all of the Micro Players have had, and it's functional, it works fine. I'm not frustrated with it. For a $20, $25 unit, it works okay. The Pocket Player, on the other hand, has what I consider to be a somewhat mushy D-pad. However, despite being mushy, despite the fact that I would like a little more click in my D-pad, I was never frustrated with the controls. It worked great and I never missed a turn. So I would say on the controller front, these two are pretty evenly matched. They both get the job done. The next area I would like to compare them in is gameplay. And the good news here is the gameplay of these two is pretty close to, if not exactly the same. Here's a side-by-side of the two being played, and I'm not including sound here so you can focus on the gameplay. You can see that the layout is the same, the behavior is the same, the speed is the same for the most part, I think. I really don't have that many criticisms about the gameplay here. We already stated it's not the original ROM, and in both original reviews I said the gameplay, though not the original, is pretty darn good, and that holds true for both of these units. And now I would like to get into what for me is the biggest bone of contention, and that is the sound quality difference between these two units. And a warning, this is where my overly analytical nerdiness is really going to come into play. So first things first, I did not want the quality of the speaker or how I recorded it to be factored in. So what I did in each case was I took a direct microphone line out of the device into my recording equipment. So in that way we can get a pure sample of the audio exactly as it's being generated by the hardware. And then I created several comparisons of iconic sounds from the game. In each comparison example, you're going to hear the same thing from 3 different sources. First, from the original arcade ROM as it should sound, followed immediately by the sound as it appears in the Pocket Player, and finally third, the sound as it appears in the 40th anniversary Micro Player. Let's start the way every new Pac-Man game starts, by inserting a coin and listening to that opening music. Yeah, I think you're starting to hear what I heard. Let's move along to some general dot munching and that siren. This next comparison is the sound of eating a power pellet and then eating some ghosts. A really quick comparison here, time to eat a fruit. That one's not too bad. This one might be the most painful though, so brace yourself. Here's that intermission music. Yeah, I know. Let's end it then where all Pac-Man games end, the sound of Pac-Man dying. Yeah, with those comparisons now, I think it's really clear that these are not the exact same version of Pac-Man. Why in the world they're different, I don't know, because the audio for me is the biggest problem with this 40th anniversary micro player. All in all, I would say the sound of the Pocket Player is closer. The sound is a bit brighter, it's closer to the original ROM. The sound in the 40th anniversary is muddier, it's bassier, it's a different pitch entirely, it's in a different key. You can go back and listen to those comparisons again if you want, but it just isn't right, and I think that's the biggest reason that I rated this unit so much lower. Not that it wasn't right, that it was wrong in so many weird ways when it comes to audio. Okay, the last area I want to compare is in the quality of the screen, because you might have noticed in those comparisons of the recording of the screen that the Pocket Player screen looked a little better, and that wasn't your imagination. It's a bit harder to record the screen on the 40th anniversary unit, because as you rotate it, you can see that the angle that it's clear to view is a little shallower, and it's really hard to get a nice, clear, straight-on view from one angle where the blacks are nice and dark and the colors are nice and vibrant at the same time. By comparison, the Pocket Player, while it still doesn't have a really wide viewing angle, it does have a nice range in the center where if you view it straight on, the black level is really deep and the colors are rich and vibrant. So it's not just a side effect of what you're seeing in the camera. It's true that in person, with your own eyes, this 40th anniversary player does not have as rich a blacks or as bright a colors from all viewing angles as this Pocket Player does. It's true in person with your own eyeballs. So what does all this mean in summary? Well, the good news, for me at least, is that I didn't misremember. This is exactly how I recall my experience with these two players. I thought the audio sounded really bad here, and it didn't sound as bad here, and it's because they're not identical. And it still really upsets me that they chose this, the 40th anniversary unit, to be the one that they put subpar sounds and electronics in, that it would be the worst version of Pac-Man they had available. This should be the best version. This is the celebration of Pac-Man. So that's really too bad. And even though this one costs only about 25 bucks and looks gorgeous on your shelf, and this one runs like 40 bucks or more, but it has a better version of Pac-Man, and that's what we're looking at in this video. This one by far is more worth your money if you're looking for a good reproduction of Pac-Man. Boy, I really hope you found something to enjoy in this video, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey, you made it to the end. If you liked this video, the best way to say thanks is to watch one more. Here are a couple suggestions that you just might enjoy. And if you love our content, maybe consider becoming a Patreon supporter by following the link on screen.
Unacceptable for grown-ups. Your dinner cannot just be French fries.